Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning.
My echo started. Now I've got to turn that off. Hello, 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 girls. I think I'm ready. I hope you are too. Okay. Hello. Are you having fun today? I hope you are. I'm excited to get into this part of the class. We're going to do some more brush layered lettering, of course. And if you got a chance to print out the shapes that I put up this morning, they will help you a little bit with some of the stuff we're doing. But you can always hand draw your own shapes, and that's kind of what this is about. We're going to morph into what we want to say in our letters and everything. We're going to talk about letter writing. It's a lost art, guys. It's a totally lost art. I used to get a letter from my mom and dad every week when I was in college. Never failed. Now we have email and messaging and a million other things, and our contact is so immediate that we forget about these precious things called letters. And I'll give you a little insight into where this all started for me, and we're going to get into making some stuff. Over the Christmas holidays, I was with my daughter and her family. And some of you already know that, so I don't have to tell you that. But I started thinking about the fact that I don't live close to any of my kids anymore. They've gone their own ways. I rarely see my grandchildren. And what was I going to do about that? I'm taking a sheet of tracing paper, because I prefer tracing paper. Y'all prefer whatever you want to prefer, okay? And I am going to cut it 6 inches wide. And we're going to make an envelope really quickly. This is the easiest envelope I know how to make. And I know how to make some pretty easy envelopes. So we're going to go 6 inches by 9.5 inches. Okay. Happy day, Miss Lynn. Okay, we're first going to score. I just have to make sure I got this correct. I did. We are going to score a 1/2 inch on each long edge. And with any kind of, that's going to be tough. It is going to break. Don't score hard. In fact, I'm going to go back because it broke in 2 little spots and it's not going to matter much. But I'm taking a wide stylus and I'm running it right up my cutting channel. And that's telling me where my score line is without breaking. And I'm immediately going to fold on that score line. Vellum's so tough. So is tracing paper. But they make such pretty envelopes. I didn't want not to do this. Okay. And we're going to go a 1/2 inch up the other long edge. And again, here we go. I'm taking this wide stylus, so it gives me, it's not down in the cutting channel. And I would do the same thing if I were working on a scoreboard. I'd use a wide stylus to give me that. that score, and it is such a faint score. You're gonna have to really work for it. So work for it, girls. Okay, there we go. We're going to be trimming quite a bit of that away, so don't get too excited over it. Your next score line is at 1 3/4 from the top edge. This is your top flap. Okay. Probably should have done this on, on typing paper or computer paper. Would have been easier for you to follow, and so we'll do it again in a minute using that paper. I am going to cut away. I can see my folds so well. I'm not sure why this one's showing up better than the other one did, but it really is. So I'm just folding down and creasing. On vellum, you just can't crease. It will break. It will totally break. Then I'm going to cut away at an angle. I want you to see just a very little angle up to that and cut away this. So if I open that up, and I know it's a little hard to see, I've got an angle right there and there. I need it to be open up so that I can, right at 4 3/4, no, 4 1/2. I lied. I had to write my measurements down this morning because I don't ever think of how my measurements are. So at 4 1/2, I'm going to score again. And believe me, we're going to do this with typing paper so that it's more visible for you. There we are. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to cut away those outside edges. Now that's the easiest envelope you're ever in your lifetime gonna make. I promise. Now all I've got to do is fold up this bottom, and I didn't trim that as well as I should have. Fold up the bottom, and I'm going to just fold over those two pieces, just like that. And I want them to extend up, and then the little flap comes down. And if you feel it's too tight, adjust it. But that's all you have to do. Now let's do it with something easier than that. Let's get some typing paper out here, which I have right here. And we're going to do it again. You can do this on anything, even on cardstock, if that's what you want to do. So you're going to cut to 9 inches. Right like that. So it's 6 by 9. Starts out 6 inches by 9 inches. There you go, 6 inches by 9 inches. Because this is lightweight paper, you are going to score very lightly, but score at a 1/2 inch on each long edge. I've got Clancy fuzzies everywhere. She's outside enjoying the morning. It's cold and she won't come in. She's driving me crazy. Now let's do from the bottom this time. Let's go 3 1/4 inches. Score line. And then from the top edge, 1 3/4 inches. And if you wanted to make sure you've got more of a flap, go ahead and do 2 inches. It's not going to matter. The envelope will still go together perfectly the same way. Then take your scissors and we're going to just cut away from the top with a little angle, and you're cutting just to that score line. And then cut into the corner and cut into the corner. Got something weird going on here today. And, oh, it's washi tape from yesterday. Good to know. And then cut right up that score line again. Pull it away. Up the score line again. And pull it away. Then all you're going to do is you are going to fold up your base, fold this over, and I glue to the inside so that my base comes over the top of these flaps. It's up to you how you do it. There we go. And it's a nice little envelope, and you can make them any size. If you want it to be 8 inches wide, for instance, all you have to do is cut the paper 8 1/2 inches wide. The length and everything is going to be pretty much the same. Now, I had a wider flap on this one. You could round the corners on this flap, and it makes it so cute. Or you could cut off and come in just a little bit. Just don't go beyond here. Super duper easy. Okay, I'm gonna take my glue really quickly and you could easily do this with score tape too. You don't have to use a wet glue. You could use score tape or even a tape runner if you happen to have one of those. I do like to use score tape for my top edge. And I'm going to get this out. It's a corner rounder, and I'm going to just round my corner. Now here is where you're going to do your monogram. I do mine on the back flap. I'm going to grab this shape piece. You can barely see through here. I would prefer to have, and I know it's not plugged in, but I have a light board I would use to get that. Or cut out your shapes and use them like a stencil or whatever. But let's do a monogram, and look here. I've got a great little circular thing just using and I've got my pencil. I'm lightly gonna draw that circle, and I'm gonna put my monogram inside the circle. How are we doing here? You doing okay? Are you doing okay, girls? We'll go over the envelope again and again. I just love this simple, really simple dimple envelope. But let's see, what are you going to use this morning, Michelle? Are you going to go with your green? Probably. Because, you know, I am a fan of green. Okay, here we go. And it doesn't have to be a brushed lettering monogram. This could be any kind of monogram. Today on Chris's class, she taught a wonderful Frank Lloyd Wright lettering style that I have not used before, but you got to know I'm going to be using it a lot. And how cute, because you could fill the whole circle with it. You could fill the whole circle with it, and it would be absolutely fabulous. How are you doing with your monograms, by the way? Are you all doing well with them? Are you having fun with them? I hope you're having fun with the brush layered lettering. We spent more time with it than we have with anything else. And I just hope you're really enjoying it. Gonna outline. That's better. I'm gonna drop a line here. Okay, I'm gonna just highlight. And I'm gonna come in with a drop shadow. Now, the beauty of these shapes is if you don't want a shape, you don't have to use one. You can just leave the H there, which is going to be fabulous. It really is. But you can also do a wreath. And that's what I'm going to do here, is I am going to do a wreath around my letter. And I can see right now I did not get my H as centered as I should have. I'm going to have to just live with that, aren't I? And I'm doing a very simple wreath. These always remind me of laurel wreaths. And yes, I'm going both directions. So they're going to kind of meet in the middle, sort of. Really wish my H was a little more centered, and it is not, and it really probably isn't going to be. I'm not going to get too wild and crazy on detailing out these little leaves, but I am doing some. Now I can add just little dots for berries in here. I could add some rosebuds in here if I want to. That's going to be your personal preference and how crazy you want to get, but this is just so simple. Really simple dimple to just do nothing more than that. Now, because we're here together and, you know, I don't like not to do everything for y'all. I'm going to take and just add a few little and do try to get some of your dots, if you're adding them down into the leaves. They can go outside really easily, but I think it looks nice to have some right down in. There you go. So we've got some little berries in there. You can take a pink pen and, that's a writer. No, it's not. It's a scrolling brush. Okay. And just add a little heart, maybe at the top. So super duper simple. And that's just a monogram. You're going to put, to go ahead and address this, move the camera closer. Oh Lord, you're going to ask me to do that, Lisa. Here we go. But this is going to, I hope it doesn't make you sick to your stomach as I'm doing it. Okay. Is that close enough, honey? Hope that's close enough. That's a lot closer. So that is a very simple way to do a monogram on your envelope, and just do it on the back. Now, again, I'm going to tell you that one of the things I have done in the past is take my completed monogram to my print shop, the gal who does my printing for me, and Shannon will do it into stickers, and she'll do as few as 25 stickers, round stickers, because she buys them by the sheet and just runs them through her copier. So you may have a print shop that does that. So that's something you can do. Now, if you want something on the front to mirror that, you can do something as simple as, all right, wrong pen. You can just do a very small monogram on the front. And I would not get too crazy with my layering. I would keep it to a minimum, because the more you add to it when it is tiny, and this is tiny, tiny, even in your outlining, keep it to a minimum. Don't go nuts. I would add my drop shadow because it always looks better. But this is hard to do. At least it's hard for me to do when I'm getting really itsy-tiny with it. I would let my white pen become more dominant. Then come in and I'm going to use the same color, and I'm just going to go see, just add your address without any embellishment. Just add it in here. And you can even use one of my favorites, and I'm just going to do it for you. Somebody throw up your address really quick. Really, really quickly. I need an address. I'm getting nothing from you. Okay. Okay, Chris. Thank you, baby. So brush out the last name. I'm sorry, I did a terrible job. Come in. Well, my goodness, 129 Braden School Road. And I can use a big B here, or I can just keep it simple. Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Chris, I will finish this off and make it cuter, but that's going to give you an idea. You can, now, I will tell you, I am the one who has to erase lines all the time. Do you see how this is headed uphill? I hate that. I would take a small ruler. I've got several of them around here, just little 6-inch rulers that I've been given. And I generally will just lay it there and give myself lines and then erase them away. I'm gonna get another envelope here because I put out a small stack of envelopes. Okay. Because we're concentrating on our letter writing today. You guys, I feel like I'm too close. You can't hardly see and I can't hardly work. But I'm trying. I'm really trying. You're an uphill rider. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. But one of the fun things you can do, and take your pencil, and if you're an uphill rider, this is especially important, is that you can just draw a wave. And you can even draw these in, but we're going to start this way. Now that I've got Chris's info right here next to me. And you don't have to go any further than the first letter in any name with your layered lettering. But if you're going to do it, I'm going to tell you, it helps and it looks so much nicer if you'll finish it off by outlining. Even if that's the only thing you do is outline it. It's just going to look nice. Now see, I can then take this and just by adding kind of a little wavy line, and maybe a couple of hearts. Oh, let's do a big C. I think on small letters, just self-layering, letting the color layer itself is better, but that's up to you. So I've got Chris Whitaker, then I can fill in her address underneath. I love the wavy lines. I think they make it so cute. So cute. If you want to, you can come in and use that wavy line. Then go back and erase anything in pencil. Just erase it away. You can gob up your envelopes a million ways. Seriously. It's getting to be springtime. I know that for some of us, there is still too much of everything on the ground to be anywhere close to spring. Then put your monogram on the back, in whatever way you want to put it. Put your monogram on the back. Put your return address and make it pretty. Make it pretty. You can come down here at the bottom in the corner and add your own little bouquet. You know how I love these little bouquets. So this should come as no surprise to anyone that that's going to go on there. The only big surprise will be that it's going to be in pink, because I have pink hearts, but maybe not. Maybe it'll be in purple. Oh, let's do it in hyacinth. Let's do it in hyacinth. And you can just build, don't even. The only thing that's restricting you on any of this is your own courage to do something a little different. So I want you to dive in and make it gorgeous. Make it absolutely beautiful. Don't forget, you can add your spikes. You can add little curly cues. You can go crazy, or you can be very circumspect. I'm not feeling circumspect this morning. I'm feeling a little nutty potatoes. Let's see, where is it? There it is. I like doing little clusters. I think they're fun. It's just little clusters of the buds, because it is springtime and not everything is, well, if you're here, nothing is even out of the ground yet. So I think maybe crocuses will come up in the next few days because it's warm enough. Of course, then we'll get a snow and it will make it all go away just as easily as it came. Maybe do a couple of little hearts in here, just floating around. Oh, those are so sweet. Just teeny tiny ones coming out of the grass. Maybe a couple nestled down in the flowers. I don't know, I'm anxious to see how you play with it and what you're going to do with it. Because, here, let me lift that up so you can kind of see. It's really quite delicate. I would love to tell you all I'm going to send each and every one of you a hand-lettered envelope and letter and everything else. I don't know if I could possibly get to all of that. But your envelope is the first thing they're going to see from you. So I'd say, you know, make it pretty. Make it something you're proud of. Make it something that really, let's do one with a capital letter. And I'm not even framing this one. I'm just getting my monogram going. And I guess you should kind of expect, if you get anything from me, it'll most likely be in green, won't it? Even though I love all the other colors too, just green has always been. And it's not even the color of our kilt. Our family kilt is red. Red with blue and yellow and white. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think I've told you at other times that family weddings for us have always been kilted. With the exception of my daughter, who was not into that at all, not what she wanted. But both of my boys wore their formal kilts. My husband wore his kilt for the first time in, oh gosh, probably 50 years. Because back in the day, we didn't do his kilt for our wedding. And he looked so handsome. But even who at the time was very young, my grandson, he's now 21. He was, well, it was 15 years ago, so he was 6 at the time. Even he wore his kilt. He didn't like it, and he told us all he hated it. And then years later, he said, gosh, I wish I'd kept that. Only to find out that it's gone through all the grandsons, and he can have it back if he wants it for his first child. Any way they want it, I will make it happen. So I don't know why the green, except for that it really has been my favorite color over the years. But I like them all. Okay, so I think I'm going to add some highlights in here, just because it kind of needs it. Does kind of need it. And I think that's how we're going to leave it. It's just going to be very simple. Very, very simple. Okay, girls. So let's move on. But you will choose how you are going to do whatever you are going to do on your envelope. Chris, I think I'm going to not send you this one. And I think I'm going to end up sending you this one. Although this would be pretty with an oval wreath around it. But I want to move on. And we're going to talk about letter writing. And I'm getting out my tracing paper because this is what my mother worked on. And although it sounds kind of old-fashioned, they called it airmail paper. And you could, back in the day when you wrote a letter, it cost you so much per ounce. And by putting it in, they had airmail envelopes that were lighter weight, and Mom would use tracing paper, essentially is what it was, to do her letters. She also had very formal watermark paper for special things, but just to send it a letter, she would write it on vellum, and you'll find it in your shapes. But my mom had hers specially printed. I don't have mine specially printed. So all I've drawn here, and I know it's hard to see, so I'm going to put this envelope underneath here, so hoping you can see it. She would have this little, it had a little arch, and the arch, hers was gold, of course. Mine is never going to be gold. I'm going to take my green again, and I am going to go right over the top of my pencil. And in a way, I kind of like that because it almost darkens my green down a little bit. And then she did that same laurel leaf kind of a look. And I had actually forgotten about this stationery of my mother's until I found a letter she wrote me a couple of years ago. And then I found that she had had the same thing made into a notepad that she kept on her desk at work. She was what we would call now the executive assistant, but back then she was just the executive secretary to the head of General Electric in San Diego. And so everything was, I mean, she was fussy about it. It was beautifully done. Let's see if I can bring this down a little more. Okay, wrong end. Do not do that, Michelle. And then hers would have been very precise in the outlining of her little leaves. Of course, this is me, so it's going to be a little more freeform because I'm not my mom, although I loved so much about her. I loved her sense of style. Mom was Native American, and I don't know how much. I've heard that she was a full quarter Native American, but she was she could pass. That's what they called it. She didn't look Native. I mean, I think she did, but she was small. She was only 4'11", and she had the fairest skin. She did not have the darker skin that her sisters had. And so her mother, my grandmother, destroyed her Indian registration number when she was young because she told her, if you can pass, you're going to be so much better off. Now, with any kind of tracing paper or vellum, you are going to have to let this dry a little bit. She did not have a heart on hers, but I'm putting a heart right there because by heck, I think it'll be cute. Anyway, so she did not embrace her heritage because her mother said it would make her life harder. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But she surrounded her things that she said made her feel more white. Isn't that a shame? Isn't that an absolute shame? But she had this beautiful, and hers always said, these notepads from the desk of Ava Price. So I'm just going to take my, if I can find it there, good grief, taking my Micron, and I am going to write, and I'm holding this so that it doesn't get away from me. So all I wrote on there was from the desk of, and you could fill in your name or fill in with your monogram or whatever. Well, I didn't space that out very well, but you get the idea. I love writing letters on vellum or tracing paper or whatever. Vellum, if you're going to use vellum, I suggest you do it as a postcard and tuck it in an envelope. Because seriously, if you fold it, it's going to break. The paper will break. This is why I gave you this, and I've cut all of mine down to half sheet. But you can lay this on here. I didn't do too bad at writing straight. I really didn't do too badly. And you can write your letter. So, make it your letter, your handwriting, your thoughts. And this is where we are going to talk. And I hope you don't mind, but I am going to lift this back up. Wrong one. Just a little bit so that I can give you some notes. And hopefully it's still going to stay there. Ah! No, it's not if you keep bumping it, Michelle. Okay. In December, when I was with Jesse in Nashville, Tennessee, I found out that my oldest grandson, Liam, is having a lot of problems with depression. And Jesse and Morgan are killing themselves off to make this beautiful boy understand how loved and wonderful he is. And as my family prays, they were brought up to pray, and my family prays, or at least my daughter's family prays. I don't know about my sons anymore. But in their prayers at night, and this is literally every night, they mention Liam's name and they talk about his wonderful qualities and who he is and what he is and how their life would not be the same without him. And even when he is with them, which he lives with his sweetheart, but even when he is away from the family or when he is with the family, they do this. And Jesse drives over to see him. It's about a 45-minute drive each way to see him once a week. And his dad drives over to see him once a week. And in the course of those visits, they do whatever they can to build him up and make him feel better. He's on medication. And Jessie, who is a massage therapist, and she also has a degree in herbology and is working on her naturopath certification. She works on him with herbs and with supplements and various other things. And he's getting better. He's getting better. He has tremendous social anxiety, and he is so introverted that unless he really knows the people he's with, he will avoid contact. Now that tells you probably more about my grandson than you ever wanted to know. But as we were saying our prayers one night, I had just a tug at my heart. And I went to bed that night and I could not rest. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I started writing a list. And it was a list of what I wanted the people I love to know that I see in them. So if you don't mind, I'm going to turn the page and we are going to talk about the art of letter writing for a minute and this legacy of love that you will leave behind with your letters. Now, I have a long list of people, family, and friends I want to send letters to. And Chris, so that you know, I am going to finish this letter to you. You will receive this letter that tells you some of the things I'm going to talk to you about now. If you are creating a legacy of love for someone, what do you want them to know? Do you want them to know only about you, or do you want them to know how you feel about them? And for me, that legacy of love is how I feel about them. And so, what does that mean? Does it mean that you're just going to write, I love you, I think you're great, keep up the good work? And that's part of it. That's part of them. But let's get a little deeper on this. If I am writing to my grandson, Liam, I want him to know what a difference he makes in my life. From the first day, from the day he was born, I mean, from that first time I held him to my heart, he has made a profound difference for me. So that's one of the things I want the people I know and love to understand. I want them to know what a difference they have made in my life. And again, this is not just my son and my daughters and my grandchildren, my nieces, my nephews, my sisters, my family, sure, but also my friends. I have a very dear friend. We grew up together. We've always said we were cradle to grave. I want her to know what a difference she's made in my life. I want my next door neighbor who we grew up with, who is now been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, to know what I think about him and what our childhood meant to me and everything, before he can't understand that anymore. The class is all fun and everything, you guys, and I love teaching. You know that. I have loved sharing the artwork and the this and the that and the next thing and all the details. That's fun. I'm going to have a great time showing you how I make a box. But all of those things are secondary to what I want to do with this. I can make my monogram and I can make it beautiful. And it's a lovely thing to see when you first get the envelope in the mail. But if this is not as beautiful as the envelope, I haven't done my job. I haven't fulfilled the potential of my friendship. One of my dearest friends died a year ago. There were three of us, and we were kind of the three amigos. And the three of us went scrapbooking together, and we played together, and we would go buy Krispy Kreme donuts together, and we would go out to dinner. And from the minute I met Donna 20 years prior, I knew she had cancer. She survived 20 years of cancer. It started in her eyes, and she could barely see, but she scrapbooked everything. She has left such a legacy for her daughter and her son. And at the end, first she went through COVID, and we couldn't see her or be near her. And the cancer spread to her brain, and everything changed. Her personality changed. She didn't laugh anymore. She was angry all the time, and she didn't want to see us. So Eileen and I didn't get to see her at all the last 2 years of her life. And I would go over and stand outside her window in front of her house, and her daughter would bring her over to the window, and I'd just wave at her. And then I would leave flowers on her doorstep and walk away, because that was her wishes, and we respected her wishes. On the day of her funeral, her daughter brought me a letter that she had written before she couldn't write anymore, and told me the value of our friendship. I don't know if ever in my life I have received anything that meant more to me. But at that moment, that was the most important gift I'd ever been given. So in December, when I am facing a crisis with a beloved grandson, all I could think to do was to write him a letter. That is what precipitated this class. doing the layered lettering, when Cindy brought that to my mind again and brought that back to my heart, I thought that will be wonderful, but that's not the most important thing we're going to do. The most important thing we're going to do is I hope you will make a commitment to write at least one letter to someone you love and tell them how you feel about them, what a difference they have made. And maybe this is the most important part of all, what you wish for them. If I could give you anything, I would give you back your health. If I could give you anything, I would give you all the confidence to know how special you are. Make your letter, if you choose to write one, something you would want to receive from your best friend. Make your letter impervious to time. Don't let time change it. Don't let time get in the way. Don't let time stop you from writing the most beautiful letter you can write. Maybe it's to a husband. We tell our husbands all the time how much we love them. How I wish my Dennis was still here to tell him what a difference he's made in my life. And I know he knows. I cannot imagine going through this whole life and not leaving a legacy of love. If that's the only legacy I have, if no one remembers that I ever taught a class, if no one remembers that I ever gave a gift or fed the hungry or cleaned someone's house when they were unable to, if no one remembers the time I spent reading to Dennis when he was sick, or the hours I spent holding a weeping daughter in my arms, if they only remember the love I shared, then that's all I want. And that's the only thing I want to leave behind, is a legacy of love. So, girls, now that I've wept, that's what this class is about. I can show you how to do pretty headers. You've now got how cute it would be to take any of these shapes. Take this, which I made to look like a house, but you can draw your own house much better, I'm sure. And put your monogram inside that house. Maybe it's not a brushed layered lettering monogram. Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's more like what Chris taught us this morning, where you just are going to do kind of a Frank Lloyd Wright monogram. Maybe it's something where you're going to do something really fun and funny, and you're going to do Christy, can you tell how much I'm loving your class? Maybe you're going to put a fun monogram in. I don't know what you're going to do with these. I mean, I did some little banners for you. This is probably my favorite one. I love just doing, because my kids have all shortened our last name to Hammy. So for their letters, maybe I just do brackets and Hammy. This is fun. This is your legacy of love. You know, if I put a loopy H in the middle of that sun and I do the sunshine, of course it's going to be hard to do because, yeah. I do the sunshine, and instead of drawing, I flick out the rays of the sun. How fun will that be? Y'all, I love teaching you projects. But this is not just a project to me. This is something bigger. It will take me, I have a list of over 100 names to write letters to. It will take me years to get them done. I know that, and I'll continue to add to the list. And if I'm doing that, if I am following through with what I've set up for both you and I, if I'm following through with that, can you even imagine? I won't have to leave letters at my funeral because you'll already have them. They will be in your possession. And when you don't feel good about yourself, I want you to be able to open a letter from me that says, oh my gosh, I admire everything about you, but these things stand out. You know, we don't know each other. You and I, most of us will never sit down to lunch together. It could happen, but I'm kind of thinking it isn't going to. But we can. We do. We connect every day on Facebook. I'm forever saying to my kids and my sisters, I have this amazing Facebook friend and she did this. Or I will save one of the pictures of your projects to my phone and I will send it to my sisters. Can you believe she did this? This is so beautiful. And you and I have never stood in a room together. That's the legacy of love. So, I'm going to go over one more time making an envelope with you because I'm not sure I did a very good job of it. And I think I've got craft paper sitting here. We'll do it with craft paper. And then I'm going to go and prep up so that we can make the box if you still want to make the box. If you don't want to go and make the box today, I will do it in a standalone video, step by step like I always do, measurement by measurement, and have it for you. Or if you are just not in a place to do it today, we can do it at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. I need input. So do you want to do the box today? Do you want to do the box tomorrow? Or do you want me to do a standalone video? Those are your choices, girls. Today, tomorrow, or standalone. I'm just going to sit here and wait. I may doodle a little bit. I'm going to get my paper trimmer. I'm going to clean up while you do that. To do it today, great, because I'm ready. I am ready, and I hate to wait when I'm ready. Jan, you want standalone? Well, by doing it today, you will have a standalone, and you can watch it anytime because you absolutely know that everything is forever in this class. Tears and all. Everything is forever in this class. Okay, so Let's make one more envelope and I'll try to do a better job. How's that? I love the Frank Lloyd Wright, Christy. That has been, I did something similar years ago and didn't know it was Frank Lloyd Wright. I was just messing around. And I had seen some architectural drawings by my neighbor he was an architect and a draftsman, and he used a similar way of writing. I was a young girl at the time. And yeah, that is some pretty stuff. Okay, let's get my paper trimmer up. I'm lifting this so that you can actually see. Well, I hope I'm lifting it. Aha. My grip strength has improved. There we go. I am all over doing it today because I've got everything ready for it. Now, all you need to do is, and if you've got poster board, do it in poster board. The box itself is 9 inches by 6 inches. So here we go. Thank you, Lori. Okay, we're cutting this 6 inches wide. And I'm going 9.5 inches. 9.5 inches long. And I can already see, you're going to be able to see this. You have a Frank Lloyd Wright. Oh. See, I love his architecture, and I would give anything to be able to see one of his buildings. So someday that's going to be, it's on my bucket list. What am I saying? It's on my bucket list. Okay, first score line, we're going to do 1/2 inch on each of the long edges. And again, I want to remind you, you can change these measurements so easily. So easily. So 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. Now, we're going to score 1 3/4 inches from the top. Now, you have to know I've got a mess going over here. So I'm going to pick up these pens, my whole arm load, and I'm going to set them over here and pray they don't go on the floor. Don't go on the floor. So from the top edge, 1 3/4 inches. Boy, you can see my score lines and everything this time. From the bottom edge, I'm going to go 3 1/4 inch. Now again, and I am just going to show you this, you can make a second score line so that if your flap is not quite right, you can do this. Send me his link. Oh my gosh, that would be so awesome. Now, I don't know, can you see? Pretty please be able to see. Yeah, you can see the score lines. So we're gonna go with this. First things first, we're gonna come in with our scissors and we're gonna cut along the score line from the bottom to this score line and then angle it off just a little bit. This is the, I've shown you other, Clancy, hello, you went out hours ago and you've been out playing all this time. Do not think you're going to sleep here because you're not, I'm teaching. It's lovely to have Clancy join us for a moment, although it will only be a moment. No, no. You don't get to sit here and play. Gonna fold this up and I am going to give it a good score like that. Crease it. Clarence, no, you can't have my water. Come here. Oh, what a good girl. You go down. There we go. Now, I'm going to do the same thing. If I want my flap longer, I can go to my second score line. I don't. I only want my flap to go like I had it. Okay. I like to allow myself wiggle room just in case I make a mistake, which I make plenty of them, let me just tell you. Okay. Now, next fold is to crease on these two sides. Now, let me tell you one of the other things about doing your envelopes this way. I think a month ago, I did a video on how to make an envelope book where you're going to make your envelopes and you're going to glue your flap to the back of to the bottom of the next one and make an accordion book that way. Girls, make your own envelopes and then you can make them all the colors in the world. And it's so cool. Okay, I'm going to get my glue going here. Now, because this is really a heavy envelope, this is done out of cardstock. This would not be an envelope that you want to think you're going to send airmail in my Mother's Day. Okay, got too much glue, just gonna wipe it away, just like that. Gotta run to your shop. Have fun, Miss Christie. There we go. Fold down your top flap. Crease it. I'm going to take some score tape because I like score tape for this step rather than glue. And I'm just going to run a little piece of score tape along there. And boom. That's all it takes. Now, do we need to write down those measurements for you? Because I can do it right now. Where's my big, thick black pen? Huh. Huh. Who knows where I put it? I thought it was with these, and it most certainly is not. And everything's wanting to go on the floor. Okay, hold on. Well, just use any old black pen, I guess. Okay, so you start out with your paper 6 inches by 9 1/2 inches, okay? You score long edge. My pen's running out of ink. Long edge, 1/2 inch on each side. Okay. You're then score 1 3/4 inches from top. And score 3 1/4 inch from bottom. That's it. Really simple. I will put the measurements up for you. because that's so easy to make those envelopes. Then you are responsible to decorate the heck out of them. Now, because this is on craft, and I know I've got a whole lot of other, you missed the bottom fold. See, Lynn, you and me. So let's do this. I love white Posca. Of course, Posca is my favorite. I'm not going to have room for Trockelman, so we are going Troc. Now you know you're going to get an envelope. You're going to get an envelope. Something just came down here. Okay. I think that's going to do it for this session. I love this lettering. We're going to play with that. I may have to look up a whole alphabet because I'm just making it up as I go. So you're going to get a letter from Hammy. That would be me. And girls, I think you can expect over the next year to receive a letter where the notches are again on the envelope. Easily done. Easily done. I'm going to need a lot more envelopes, so here we go. I'm grabbing a piece of paper. Okay, here we go, darling. Cutting it down. I'm doing this one 6. Actually, let's do this wider. Shall we do a wide one? Let's do a wider one. Let's go 8 inches. And we're going to do it 8 by 9. Go wider. I love wide. 1/2 inch score on the long edges. 1/2 inch. Half an inch. Top edge 1 3/4 inches. Bottom edge 3 1/4 inch. I like showing you again so I can show you you can have any measurements that you want. Here we go. We're going to turn this up and crease. We're going to turn our sides in and crease. I'm going to take my longer scissors and do this. Okay, can you see that I've got a score line here? And you can see these score lines, I know. I'm cutting right up the score line. And I'm just cutting in the tiniest bit, just a little notch. And that's right at where the score lines intersect. There we go. Now I'm going to fold down and crease. And I'm going to take away that little piece, and there's your notches. They're just, the notches are just there. Fold those in. Fold that bottom up. And let me get my glue. There you go. Does that help? Did that help at all, honey? I hope it did. I hope you can see how easy it is. And look, now I've got two different sizes. I can tell that I cut this one 9 inches instead of 9.5 inches, which is still okay. It's all okay. There we go. Couple of letters. Couple of envelopes ready to put letters into, ready to send off. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. You can use any printed paper. Also, let me just go one more thing on this before I close this out, because I really do need to close it out and get ready for our next class. Okay, let me throw these in the garbage. If before I fold this, I want to line the inside, line it before you fold it up. Line it before you fold it up, because you could easily line the inside of your envelope. And they're so cute when they're lined inside. It's like this pretty surprise waiting for you. So that's just another suggestion. All right, girls. I'm going to go get ready for our next class. I've got a little bit to do. Not a lot, just a little bit. Okay? So here we go. I will see you at noon. Right at noon. In the meantime, for the box class, either poster board or chipboard. And we're going to cut. You're going to cut. I've already pre-cut mine. You're going to cut. I guess I could cut it out of poster board. We'll cut together the measurements. 45th wedding anniversary. That's such an important date. Enjoy yourself, Sherry. The video will be up for later. Anyway, so yeah. Get your poster board, get your glue, get your paper trimmer, get your printed paper, whatever pretty paper you want to cover this with. And I think that's about it. We don't need much. Making boxes is so simple. And that's what I really want you to see, is that you can make a pretty box with just, yeah, happy anniversary. Anyway, so that's what you need. Pretty paper, poster board or chipboard, your paper trimmer, and glue. Really, that's it. That's it. Okay, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye, girls.